Okay, guys, we are going to look at shapers today, Atlas shapers. And a little bit of housekeeping. I've been after, had some guys ask me about some parts. I've been trying to restock stuff. On the Atlas Machine Shop website, we now have shaper index plates that go on the indexing head for the shaper. I believe there are just the handles that go on the hand wheels, the smaller handles. I CNC those out. And I believe there's some tailstock lock handles that lock the quill on the 10-12 inch lathe. So they're there. And I'm kind of back on my normal thing of values on stuff and the values of Atlas machines. And as I just put out a video just here a little bit ago that talked about how they were overrated and how things were really blown out of proportion. And I'd said before, I've been watching our marketplace, our Craigslist, that type of thing, shopping for different things, not necessarily machine tools, but when I get there, I get to looking at machine tools a little bit. And one of the reasons I wanted to look at Atlas shapers today is just to see what we've got here and what the prices are on eBay. I've seen a couple listed on the other different sites here recently where they're taking and they're throwing a big number up there, and then they'll sit there for a while, and pretty soon they're dropping them down to almost half, and sometimes less, sometimes not quite that much. Anyway, there was a shaper here that I just looked at that they wanted, I think, $1,800, $2,200. It was fairly well tooled. It had a vise with it. And the handle, and when you look at shapers, those are the main two things you're getting. You know, there's the other accessories that go with them, but when you normally see a shaper, that's what they are. This shaper was on a original sheet metal stand, an Atlas sheet metal stand, although I think they said it was missing the badging on it. But he also stated that this was really a rare find because it had both the guards on it, and you very rarely see them with both guards on it. I find that it's much more prevalent to find them with the guards on it and not having a original stand, whether it's on the legs or whether it's on the stamped steel cabinet for them. So, and they started that, like I say, I don't remember if it was $1,850 or $2,200, something like that. What I felt was really more than it was worth. And they dropped it down to, I think, $1,200, $1,000, something. I think about $1,200 if I remember right. You know, in my opinion, it doesn't matter if it's a shaper or the mill, and the lathes vary a little bit more depending on tooling. And I don't watch lathes quite as much anymore. But when you look at either the shaper or the mill, in my opinion, a machine that is relatively well tooled and complete has to have the guards on it, needs to have a vise with the wrench that goes with it, and be a complete machine. And they'll tell you these are in excellent condition. Well, you have no way of knowing if they're in excellent condition. You know, they're always going to be in excellent condition. They were only driven by a little old lady to church on Sundays. You know, so you're buying a project. You're buying a restoration project, in my opinion. And I don't consider them to be collectible. I consider them to be working machines in the home shop. But to put it in perspective, when I see one tooled like that, either a mill or a shaper, in my opinion, on the outside, if they're in good condition, appear to be in good condition, not just beat to crap and have 3 different colors of paint on them, you know, one color on one guard and a different color on the ram and a different color on the main casting. Why? If they're all look relatively complete, look relatively original, that machine's going to be worth $1,200, $1,250 on the outside as far as I'm concerned. Now, when you start getting into the accessories, indexing attachments, rotary tables, things like that were options for these, it's going to bump the price a little bit, maybe. But even something that's pretty well tooled is, in my opinion, not going to be worth more than about $1,500. You know, because if they're the guys that are selling those off, unless you're just selling out in a state or something where you're probably going to get a decent deal on them, and that's how a lot of these guys got these machines to start with, is they bought them up out of an estate, at a yard sale, whatever the case may be, and they're selling it for big bucks. If they've got the more desirable accessories, or the perceived more desirable accessories for them, like the index heads, rotary tables, sometimes vices, things like that, they're going to part those out and sell them separately because they think they're going to get big bucks for those. There again, in my opinion, those accessories are only worth, a vice is worth about 200, 225 bucks. An index head, they're putting those out there for 500 or 700 bucks. If you've got one that's complete with all the index plates and everything, they're maybe worth 350 or 400 bucks. Index or a rotary table for them, 250 bucks. Maybe three if they're in excellent condition, but usually they've been drilled into or they're beat to crap, rusted up, whatever the case may be. So that's kind of my take on value. The other thing I wanted to compare on that is I was looking through and there was a Rockford 16-inch shaper listed, and it's relatively local to me, within 150 miles, I think, something like that. They only wanted $600 for that machine. It had been converted to 110, which I don't care about. It had a 110 motor on it, so there you're getting kind of iffy as far as I'm concerned on that big a machine. And I have the capabilities for three-phase, so I would just as soon on machines like that run three-phase power to them. Had a vise on it, looked to be the appropriate vise. I didn't dig in it too deep. For that machine, they wanted $600 for it. Now, the constraints are it's going to be a big machine. A lot of guys are not going to have room for them in their garage or in their shop. If I had space for it, I would buy it in a heartbeat. It's going to cost me another $200 to $300 to get it moved from there to here, which, go pick it up, load it, all the stuff that goes on with it, gas going and everything. So I'm going to be into this machine for less than $1,000, and it's by far a more capable machine. Even with a 110 motor on it, it's going to be a by far more capable machine than an Atlas machine is. And like I say, there are the constraints of the size and the weight, and as we get older, it's harder for us to deal with those things. But value-wise, that machine is going to be 4 times the machine that an Atlas shaper is. So just keep that in perspective when you start looking at this stuff, because it's way overvalued. When we look at accessories for them, for the Atlas machines, the vices, the rotary tables, or index heads, those are the ones that I look at. Guys have asked me for castings, guys have asked me for complete parts and everything. At some point, I am playing with some of this stuff. We have built some patterns and things for some of these to be cast in cast iron, and that's kind of one of my holdups right now. But by the same token, for me to reproduce those and sell them, they're not going to be inexpensive, which is why I haven't pushed them that much. For me to reproduce something like that to basically original specifications, or to something that's going to be very comparable, look appropriate for the machines, and be fully functional, there's going to realistically be more invested in those machines or those accessories than I personally think they're worth. If I'm producing a vise, you're going to have probably $500 in it. Same way with accessories, or same way with the index heads or the rotary table. Rotary tables are going to be a little bit less, but to me, the cost of those that I would have to have out of those to make it even remotely feasible for me to produce those is going to be more than they're worth. Now, granted, there's guys that will support me, and I appreciate that would do that, but that's an awful lot of money to be spending on a machine that's not as capable as the accessories. And as I've said before, they're not collectibles, they're working machines as far as I'm concerned. But even if you're looking at it from a collectible standpoint, you don't want a reproduction vise, you don't want a reproduction rotary table or index heads, whatever the case may be. So anyway, that's my little spiel on that. That's my little spiel on that. So let's look and see what we've got under shapers here. And right off the bat, we're way out of price. They've priced themselves out. Atlas 7B 7-inch metal shaper, vintage lathe, power switch, and old plate with the 2 screws. They want $40 for it and $6 shipping. You're buying a damn $5 toggle switch. The plates, yeah, they're tough, but this plate's showing some, and I'm not going to go in and look at this. The plate's showing some wear. It's in relatively good condition, but if you're buying this, the switch is wore out anyway. I mean, you can pretty much electrical components on stuff like this. the switches are wore out. You know, you're going to replace it with another $5 or a $10 switch, so you're buying the plate for 40 bucks. You know, these plates, this whole assembly should go for $15 and $6 shipping. If you can get it for 20 bucks in your door, that might be reasonable. New listing, 4-step pulley. They want $80 for them and $18.60 shipping. That's kind of the going rate. I don't think they're worth that. I think the pulley should be about 50 bucks in good shape, and then you're still going to pay that $20 shipping. So it's about $30 overpriced. Same way. Now see, somebody's parting one of these machines out. They're parting a shaper out, because there's the counter shaft pulley, and then there's the lather metal shaper motor mount. They want $60 and another $21.65 shipping. Motor mounts, 40 bucks. So, machinist made keyway extension shaper tool, 4-inch bar, 3/8 by 3/4 shank, Atlas 4A pre-owned, $80 and $9.99 shipping. Let's go and look at this. This is somebody's shop built something very similar to what I'm doing, other than there's some engraving on this one. So let's see what they've actually done and what it says here. Who's the seller? Not a seller. See, another one with a lot of feedback, but it's a tooling outfit. So $10 shipping. Machinist made keyway extension shaper tool holder. The same thing as the initial listing says. So let's look at the big pictures here and see what we see. So this is a welded up shank, but this has got quite a bit of engraving on the holder itself. So this is a tool holder, probably a lathe tool holder, number 2020R tool, number 2020R ACE tool holder. Somebody has taken and cut off a manufactured lathe shank, probably a lathe shank, and they have welded a extension tool holder on it, which, you know, may be a feasible option. Which is why the shank is only 4 inches long, is because they've cut it back behind the original tool holder. So that's interesting. I had not thought of that. So second picture, same thing, different angle. Yeah, got a keyway in the tool holder, which is not necessary to hold your shaper tool on there at all. To me, that's just they've taken a keyed piece of round stock, whether it was factory, whether it's something else, and they have mounted the tool holder on it. I do things a little bit different on this. I would put 2 screws to retain it. My early shaper tool holders that I built like this had a screw on either side at a 45-degree angle going into the bottoms of them. The factory tools and the way that I produce mine now is they've got the retaining screws drilled and tapped on this side, a little bit closer to your weld stuff and everything, a little bit harder to do, but they're easier to access to change your tool holder. So just a little note if you're building your own there. Other than that, standard tool holder. Now, when you look at these, well, maybe it's not. Yeah, see, you've only got a 3-inch long shank, which is plenty long for on an Atlas shaper, on a small shaper. See, they've got a key and a keyway in here. There's no reason for that. I wouldn't really want my set screw on the bottom. Potentially that could interfere depending on, although you're not going to have that much stroke going through, so probably not. But yeah, I'd put your set screws here on the top, on either side. 45-degree angle there, and then down on this side over here. So there we go. Interesting. Okay, let's move right on down here and see what we've got. Atlas metal shaper milling vise. An original handle, a 7-92 vintage. They want $450 in shipping. Let's go look at this. It's got the handle. It's got this jaw, which is not a factory jaw. Now see, this will be no rotary or no swivel base underneath it. See, there again, this is way, way overpriced. What does the description say? Very nice, smooth working vise with handle as shown in pictures, in great working condition. Yeah, no, you get what is shown in pictures, no swivel base. I think I've looked at this one before because I think they've had it, and this is somebody's little junk shop, whatever the case may be. But we have looked at this machine before. It's been disassembled. The pins out here. We got a scarf mark here. No vice jaws on it. This just a little add-on V-block type of thing. Got the handle there. I don't think there's really, I guess we can look at a few of these pictures. There's a bunch of them. Yeah, see, this would have originally been drilled and tapped for the 4 screws to hold vice jaws on. Not a good buy at all. Yeah, I remember looking at this one before. Does have the handle. It's worth 75 bucks there. The vise, no swivel base and everything. Dink mark there on it. This thing's worth 150 bucks. You know, 150 bucks and another 75 bucks for the handle. You know, this is worth $2 1/4. $2 1/4 and $20 shipping. That's all it's worth. And you know, why do you want to buy an incomplete one for twice as much what it's worth? No sense whatsoever. None. Alright, we're not going to waste any more time there. We may not have much of anything else here. See, here's another countershaft pulley, 4-step pulley. This is a 10-80. That's a different number. Countershaft. Oh, this is for the countershaft. They want 70 bucks and $20 shipping. One right above it. Yeah, exact same thing. $80, $79.95 and $20.05 shipping. So same seller because they've got $20.05 shipping. And from looking at the description, they're the same. It's the same seller. These things are worth 50 bucks. All right, now here's a Atlas Metal Shaper 7B parts only. They want 600 bucks or best offer and free local pickup. Yep, another tool seller. They sold off what they couldn't, or you know, what they could off of this. Atlas Shaper's not complete, comes with parts shown. They want $5.99. Let's go through and see what they've got. You've got a base casting. You've got the base. You've got the column. And you've got some internal parts there. Let's get onto the, let me see if we can get to the bigger pictures here, or if that's all they're showing. I guess that is the bigger pictures. Okay, there's the first picture. Second picture, see, they robbed the switch off of it, sold that. Nothing here at the back. Gear down inside. No door, of course. This is what you're buying apparently. Yeah, they sold everything that they possibly could off of this machine. Oh, there is a ram laying there. Nothing on the front of the ram. Oh, there's a swivel. There'll be the vertical. That's all you're getting. You're buying 4 castings that they couldn't sell anyplace else. This is worth 150 bucks, and there's not a part here that you need. Not a part here that's worth you buying. Yeah, no, it's not worth 600 bucks. These people are smoking dope. Some wood stuff here. Another Atlas Milling Shaper vise, horizontal milling machine, swivel, Fairmont Craftsman vise, $319 or best offer. Okay, there again, don't recognize the seller. Got a little bit of feedback there. What's the description say? Atlas horizontal milling machine vise. Previous owner had it on a drill press, so the vise has many holes in the ways and on the main screw. We've seen this one too. We've seen this one too, I'm pretty sure. So, $75 handle. This looks goofy to me right here too. Maybe not, but you do have a swivel vise. It is a milling machine vise. All kinds of holes in the top. All kinds of holes in the casting. All kinds of holes up there. Yeah, ultimately, if you use it very much, that screw is probably going to fail. It might not. For the use that they get, it might not fail on you. But there's that $75 handle. Something's different here. Something's different. Not sure what, but something's different. Does have the swivel base. Swivel base is worth 75 bucks as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, remember it was always all scarfed out on both sides here, probably for clearance one way or the other, instead of just working a wrench to fit. Why do we have it? That's probably a drilled hole that goes down there. Scarfed out. This is a $150 vise with the, well, 200 with the handle. 200 bucks. That's all it's worth, and they want 320. And a bunch of Atlas, a bunch of internal parts. Yeah, I think we've looked at this stuff before. Now see, here is I've not seen this one here, I don't believe. Atlas Craftsman Shaper Indexing Centers, pre-owned, $1,350 or best offer. On the outside, these are worth, I would say on the outside with the going rate, 600 bucks, and I think 600 is too much. This is more a $500 accessory if you have to have one. And as I've said before, this set of index centers has very limited value. There's not, there's some things that you're going to do that you can set up and use these for, but these are not the best thing in the world. $1,350 or best offer and free shipping. Guy with a fair amount of feedback. I don't recognize the name. Let's see. Comes as pictured. Please view all pics carefully as they are part of the description. And he says absolutely nothing about the index centers themselves. So let's look at this. We may have looked at it. Look at the rust on it. It does have both index plates. Now these are the index plates that I just restocked, and right now I've got them listed for 90 bucks for the pair of them. I kind of question if I'm charging enough for those. I don't think I'm really making too much money on those. I don't think I'm making any money on those, but I'm still trying to keep this in perspective about keeping these machines affordable. This one rusted up here. Let's look at the pictures before I really trash on it about value-wise. There's rust all over this. It's got the pin. I don't see the handle up here. This is the knob that goes on top of this is the one that fits the 6-inch lathe tailstock. Same ram lock. It's missing. Does have the drive dog there. It's got a center. Look at the rust on this piece of crap. Look at the rust. Other than that, it is complete, it looks like. Let's see what it's got. And I believe we have looked at this before, although I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, look at this shit on here. I'm not giving anybody $1,350 for this junk. Junk. So, if this were to be offered as a kit, and it's got the keys, it's got the key and the lockdowns for it. So yeah, I've looked at this before. This one in this condition, I'm going to say it's worth 400 bucks. Uh, it's not worth any more than that. You know, it's just literally not. And as I said before, you know, this one to reproduce, and a lot of times I'm not excited about reproducing some of this stuff for guys. It's not. This was all machined on bigger machines. You know, as I said before, these two slots were cut, at least initially they would have been cut on a horizontal and probably straddle cut in one pass. The way I know that is this radius right here in this bottom corner, and then of course it's got T-slots cut up to about there on both sides, if I remember correctly. So this is not something that's really conducive to be accurately machined in the home shop unless you, with just Atlas equipment. You know, Atlas machines are not big enough to realistically do this. You've got to bore these through to where they're in line. There's several ways to do it, and it can be done. I'm not saying you can't do it if you are dedicated enough to the project. You can do it and come up with a fine machine, but I question, you know, just how feasible it is to how much time and money you are going to invest in these. But $1,350 is ridiculous. This is a $400 accessory right here, is what that is worth. So a bunch of other parts, used cross feed nuts, junk. We've talked about that before. Don't put that shit on your gun, on your machines. Used metal shaper bushings, 20 bucks, 18.95 for a pair of wore out bushings. Local Ace Hardware, 5 bucks a piece, and never look back. All right, I'm not going to go much farther. Here's a vice handle. They want $285 or best offer. Best offer is going to be 75 bucks. Yeah, now see, here's a Shaper Crossrail casting S7-4 pre-owned, $29.99 and $14.65. It's worth $29.99 and $14.65. And you know, and this is from a seller that I really don't have a whole lot of love for. He's always tended to have things way overpriced. So what's the description say on this? As shown in sound condition with scattered cosmetic wear. Now, chances are you're not gonna, you don't really need one, which is why he's got this marked this low, because it's junk he's got left over from parting out a machine. So he's either gonna come down to the point, you know, instead of wanting $100 for these or $125 in shipping, he's come down to where he knows he can't sell it for, it's junk, nobody wants it. So he's come down to $29.99 and $14.65 priority mail shipping. If I realistically needed one, had one that was really scarfed up, why, I would give $29.99 for that. That's a fair price. You know, that's what they should be going for, because this is the leftover crap. So yeah, that's a fair price from a seller that's usually not fair at all. So it looks like there's some other shaper parts here and stuff. I don't think we're going to go any farther than this. Yeah, we're down into stuff that we've seen before. So hopefully you find that a little bit interesting, you know, and useful as you look for parts. Don't get taken in by this stuff, because these sellers will eventually realize that if you are an informed enough buyer, to where you're not going to do just a panic buy. You got to have it because you're missing one of these, or you think this one's better than what you got. You know, if you sit back, take your time, look at the stuff, it'll either come down in price or else a better buy will come along. So, you know, if there's a good buy, I say, yep, buy it, you know, invest your money there. And, you know, even stuff on this stuff that says, or best offer. If it's something I'm truly interested in and people have got a fair price on it, I have no problem with giving them the money for parts or anything else that I'm buying. A lot of times, if they've got them way out of sight, like this $1,350 or best offer and free shipping, I will pass that stuff by. I won't even investigate it, even though it's something, and there's people watching this, but I hope none of the people watching this are foolish enough to give that much money. Hopefully they're just watching it thinking who's stupid enough to give that much money, or when are they actually going to come down in price. This is something that if I was searching for one of these, it's priced so far out of range that I'm not even gonna message the seller and ask if he'll take what I think is a reasonable price for it. Because two things are going to happen. He's going to think, no, I've got something that's happening. He's going to be insulted by my offer, or by the same token, I'm insulted that he thinks that this is actually what he's going to work, what this is worth. So, just pass on this stuff. Don't even message him with an offer. Leave him sit here, leave him pay whatever the Fleabay fees are right now, and to list this stuff. And when they get smart enough to realize that they're not going to sell them for that, well, then they can come down in price. See, if I was producing these and selling them, and I don't know that I could produce them for that price, but I would not even try and market a reproduction one of these for more than a brand new reproduction in cast iron setup, nice, for more than probably $600, $650, and I speculate that that's pretty close to a break even from a manufacturing standpoint. Unless you just got big equipment sitting in your shop, and I've got some bigger equipment, but nothing set up to do this particular thing. If you got bigger equipment set up and you can machine this stuff, manufacture this stuff, then it may be a little bit more profitable. But by the same token, if you're after profit margins, there's other things you can be doing with that equipment that's going to make you more money than screwing around with Atlas accessories, per se. So anyway, that's where we're at. Hopefully you find that a little bit useful. Comments, suggestions, guys, leave them in the comment section for me below. And have a good week. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.